Hello, all my friends over the Southeast U.S. I'm John Feldt. This is the weekly water outlook for November 24th. Well, overall, it was a quiet week, and I think that's sort of the lull before the storm because this week looks pretty busy. You can see that the number of rain days are either 0 or 1 across most of the Southeast U.S., so generally a pretty quiet week as far as number of rain days. If we look at the amount of precipitation, we also see a pretty quiet week, really dividing line really between the Midwest, parts of the Tennessee River Valley that have been somewhat more active, and then we get into the Southeast U.S. and we see a very quiet week with precipitation generally less than 1/4 inch over the entire region except some pockets along the immediate Gulf Coast. We also see a couple spots in Mississippi that have sort of brushed that lower Midwest precipitation, and we see an area of yellow in northern parts of Mississippi, about an inch or two of precipitation in that region. But overall, if we look at the percent of normal, as you know by now, red is below normal precipitation, and it was a very quiet week as far as precipitation over Virginia, the Carolinas, most of Georgia, all of Alabama, and even parts of Mississippi. If we look at temperatures, even though the latter part of this period we had some cold air, when we average it all together from the warm start of this period, we end up with temperatures actually averaging for the week just slightly above normal. Okay, now the jet stream is sort of interesting this week. We have a number of things to look at. As we get into winter, we're going to get a lot more complex as far as the weather goes. This is a split jet stream pattern with a northerly branch and a southerly branch. And the northerly branch is more active. You can see those colors, and those are the wind colors, and that's feeding in the Arctic air, the cold air. And then the southerly branch is feeding in Pacific moisture. And I think I have a satellite picture coming up. Here it is. And what you can see here, if you track these streaks, this is a water vapor. It's pulling in Pacific moisture, and it's interacting with the cold air, and it's pretty messy over parts of Texas and into Arkansas. Now, that's not directly what's going to be causing the weather over the Southeast U.S. We're going to actually have a low that develops and moves up towards the northeast, and that's going to enhance our precipitation. Now, if we get towards the latter part of this week, what you see here is the southerly branch begins to quiet down. The northerly branch, another dip in the upper branch, this dip right here. And that dip means that there will be a reinforcing blast of cold air, and some of that will make it down into the Southeast U.S. As typical, the coldest air will be up to the north, but it does look like the door is open for some of that to get down into our region. Now, I've shifted a little bit. I'm talking about the North Atlantic Oscillation, and that's related to the Arctic Oscillation, but it's the sort of the cousin to it. It's the part that affects our area a bit more. I just wanted to show you that it has finally pushed down into the negative range, and that's allowing that upper jet stream to become a little bit more active and transport that colder air into the region. And it looks like there's not a real conclusive, either positive or negative, the next couple weeks. And I think what we will see because of that is some areas will be a bit warmer, some areas will be a bit colder. But for the Southeast U.S. as a whole, it looks like there will be a little bit more vulnerability to some of that cold air pushing into the region. So here's a precipitation forecast for the next 7 days. Now keep in mind that the track of the heaviest rain, the path of the heaviest rain, this axis right here, look at this, 3 inches of rain, even a little bit higher as we get in higher elevations being enhanced. That will be some snow as well. That's going to always be, or generally be, north and northwest of the track of the low. So if the low would be moving in this region a little bit further to the south, that would shift that. And that's why you might see some slight adjustments to the track of the precipitation. I wanted to look at week 2 and just sort of see if that continues the wet weather. And it looks like it pushes it a little bit further south. This is the dry weather, and it's a possibility that we could have dry weather pushing in over parts of the Southeast U.S. At the same time, I'm still a little bit interested in this because I think this comes up a little bit further up to the north, and we could have a second week of wet weather. So the soil moisture change, the anticipated soil moisture change over the region, what you can see here is because of the heavier rain, it does look like soil moisture will be becoming wetter over this region. It's sort of interesting, if you've been watching our outlooks for winter outlooks, I've been passing a lot of information over the last couple months about models and climate models. And really the strongest signal for dry weather is over the southeast U.S. So it's interesting how the winter, even though we're not quite into the month of December, is starting out over the southeast U.S., completely opposite of what climate models are calling for. But we have a lot of time ahead of us, but right now definitely looks like it's on the wet side over the region. Now, I mentioned as we head into the end of November and early December, pulses of cold air look like they will be continuing to spill south. The southeast U.S. will be on the edge of it, but it'll still average below normal temperatures. And then that axis from Texas into the southeast U.S., that still looks to me like the most likely area for above normal precipitation. So southern parts of the southeast U.S. in particular, but I do think that it looks like generally on the wet side. So here are your takeaway points. Looks like a messy start to the week. Cold with some rain, pretty widespread rain over the southeast U.S., and it could be mixed with some snow once the colder air pushes in and over higher elevations. I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. I will be issuing some more information on this wet weather probably throughout the week to keep you informed. If you have any questions, you can always reach me, John at BlueWaterOutlook.com. Have a nice Thanksgiving.